Hey YouTube, today we're working on that Streetmate R project. We're continuing here with it. The kid that we bought this thing from, obviously like most 15-year-olds, thought it was a motocross bike, and I don't know what he did. Jumped it, crashed it, picked up girls on it. I don't know what he was doing with it. However, today we're going to be working on the speedometer cable. Right now the moped is missing a speedometer cable altogether. It's not even broken. It's totally off. I picked up one of these from treatland.com. These guys are pretty good for Tomos parts. As you guys know, Tomos went out of business about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And some of the parts are getting really difficult to find. So these guys are a good place to search. It's usually where I go first for them. Anyway, so what we're going to do here right now is we're going to basically take apart this front housing for the speedometers. There's just 2 bolts underneath, and the wire will go up in there, and then it comes down. It wraps into this little holder here, and then comes right into the speedometer cable. I guess it goes around the front, but we'll figure it out. I don't know if that's spun. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at it. So that's where we are, and let's see what we can do with it. I'm going to take a pause while I start to take this off. But like I said, there's 2 Phillips screws in there. We'll start that, and then I'll start the video back up. Okay, so basically I've loosened both of these 2 bolts here. Now this panel should just come apart. As you see, it just comes apart, and there's basically that's where the cable goes. It comes down through here, and when we put it back on, the 2 screws will come through here, and that'll hold it. I was checking this thing out a little bit. I don't see any lights on this. I see some wires for idiot lights, but I don't see any wires at all for a light. I believe that is for the mileage. But I could be wrong, but I don't think that is the light, but we'll check that out as we go. Alright, so I'm going to basically shut the camera back down a second. I'm going to try to line stuff up here, and then we'll put it back together, and we'll go from there. I'm going to actually check out that wire here, see if that's actually a light, because I want to make sure if it is that the light's working. Alright, so I'm going to take a pause here, and I'll be back on in a few minutes. Okay, so we took off the bulb out of the speedometer, and it was broken, and basically as I pulled it out with a needle nose, I actually broke the glass part of the bulb. Trying to now get a bulb for it. We'll see what we can do. If not, well, then I guess I don't know, we'll figure something out. So at this point, that was where the bulb goes in that bottom of that speedometer. For right now, I'm just going to basically just leave it out and just put that back into the speedometer, and then what I'll do is when I get a bulb, I'll do another video and we'll snag that out. So at this point, I'm going to go forward with changing the speedometer cable, and we'll see where we can go from there. And as I said, when I get the bulb, we'll do a video on changing the bulb, but obviously it's not very hard. You got to find the actual bulb. So I'm going to take a break again. I'm going to start to put the speedometer cable where it needs to be, and we'll figure out from there. Alright? Okay, so basically real straightforward stuff. The little square cable goes into the hole here. I don't know if the camera can get that. And then this little bolt goes over, and you just have to make sure the threads line up. Again, as the cable's fighting me going in, and you just tighten that on. It just goes straight down and tightens. And if you want to see if the speedometer works, you can just take the cable and spin it, and you can see that the speedometer is moving, so therefore you know the mechanism's not broken. Alright, from there, just going to slide it down into the to the lower part of the casing, and we'll move it where it needs to go, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put this back together, and then we'll move to the bottom end. Okay, so now we put back together the little console here. As I told you before, there was 2 just screws up there. As I was putting the thing back, I realized that when the cover is on for the Streetmate, you're not going to be able to get to that. You're going to have to take off the cover and the headlights. So they would be like this. And basically sitting like this. So it's really not a big deal. There's just 2 screws over here on each side, and that would get your headlight assembly out, and also take off your upper cowl. So mine was already off when we got it. It was, like I said, broken. And then really there's just 2 wires that basically hook up the headlights. You got your brown and your gray. They go to headlights. These other 2 wires here are for low beams. These Streetmates don't have low beams in this model, because these have the projectiles. But I believe the earlier ones with the round headlights had a high beam and a low beam. So technically, if you wanted to do a high beam, low beam, you could, instead of having both lights going from the browns, see if you look at this, this is a jumper switch. So if you wanted to, you could unclip this and go to the blue and white instead of going to the brown and gray. Hook these up, and then you could have a high, low beam side to side. It depends on which way you want. Some current motorcycles have that kind of setup where one side goes high beam, one side goes low beam. On this particular one, I believe that they're just basically one light and not a high-low beam. Again, it's up to you, but that's kind of an interesting thing if you wanted to have one high beam, one low beam. You could actually pick which side that you wanted, depending on which light you plug into that blue and white wire. Again, that would be your low beam. So as what I did is I traced down the speedometer cable. I ran it down behind the fork into this little wire stay, and you actually have to take the wire and push it behind the wire stay in order to get it to work. Basically, you could move that either way you want. Mine was in the back, so I assumed that's where it is. It matches the other side, so I just left it there. But they move from side to side. If you wanted to come through the front and down, you could have done that just the same. Actually, that might even have been a better run, but you'd end up in front of the headlights. So this is the way it's supposed to be run. Now it comes down and then comes into this little I guess it's a speedometer calibrator. It's actually attaches to the wheel, and as it spins, it turns the cable. So if we just lift the front end and I spin the wheel, we'll see that it actually works. So I'm going to have somebody just pull the front end up for me, and I spin the wheel, and we should be getting movement. So let's see if we can get it going fast enough. I'm hearing that it's not moving. As I did this off video, it was moving, so I must not be spinning it fast enough. Alright, I'm going to take a break and figure out what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to now lift it back again. I'm going to see if I can get enough spin on it this time to get it going. Every time I do it on the video, I can't hold the motorcycle and pull it. I don't know what it's doing. Alright, shut it off. To lift the bike back. Okay, so now I'm going to have him lift the bike back so we can see. And we have it working now. So we're all set. What I actually did is I didn't like the way it was ran, so I actually did a straighter line with it. I came in the front of the forks this time. In front of the fork tube here, and then came back around to the front and kind of moved this cable up because I just felt like it was putting a little too much stress on it. So, and then when you put these lights on, it's not going to be in any way. It'll be behind. It's not an issue with that. And again, just sitting like this when we're done, and we'd be done. So that's all we are with it. A little frustrating at times, but sometimes you have to play with it until you get it right. Always best to check your work to make sure it's all there. Always make sure you turn the bars, make sure nothing's binding, and here nothing's going because it's just a straight line. And at this point we have it fixed. So every once in a while these projects give you a little bit of a toying with, but I guess that's why we have projects. So like I said, there you go on that one. It's the speedometer cable. We're going to go check that speedometer light as soon as I can find someone that gets me one. I've checked with Treat TV. They were telling me it was the wrong light bulb. Like I said, I have one here. Don't know which one it is. There's nothing left to the light bulb, so once we get that, we'll make the light work. Again, no big deal. Just take off those 2 screws, drop it down, and push the light bulb in. Alright, so at this point I think we're pretty much done with the Streetmate for now. I don't have a headlight assembly yet. We're going to do some other little goofy things with it too, like we're going to paint the side cover down here, so I'll show you how to pull that all off. This kid had put an aftermarket air filter on it and didn't do a very good job mounting it because it still seems a little loose. We'll figure out how to fix that. At this point I don't think there's anything else I can do until I get some more parts. So thanks again for watching. We'll figure out what else we can play with this little Streetmate and go from there. So oh yeah, by the way, this one had a bad oil tubes on it, so when you run it now on premix, the oil light stays on. I'm going to disconnect that oil light just for sheer goofs and giggles because I'm running premix in it now. So there we go, YouTube. Thanks for watching as usual, and check back from time to time when we get some more of these projects going. Again, we're going to do those OCC bicycles with bicycle motors in it, and I think we're going to go play with those for a little while. I should be getting them sometime next week, and I'll be dropping that on YouTube. I think that's going to be a fun project. We're also going to be doing a PVC dune buggy type car bicycle. We'll do that later on this winter, and we've been working on some really cool scoot coupes, so maybe I'll drop some videos on the scoot coupes. Maybe we'll play around with the Corvettes too, and we'll see what's going on with that. So stay tuned, and as always, thanks for watching, and again, subscribe and keep watching. Thank you. Bye.